Welcome to another episode of Mick and the Fat Man, where we are talking artists, albums, and everything music. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Mick and the Fat Man Series 4, episode number 19. And g'day Mick, how are you travelling, sir?
Mate, I'm travelling fantastically. And given the amount of difficulty you just had telling everyone what the series and the episode number was, I won't even bother correcting you because it seems reasonably right.
Oh, gee, I've had a rough time there. Oh, it's been a busy sort of day. We've been faffing about a little bit. But anyway, we are here together and I'm very excited about another exciting episode. That's how excited I am about this excitement.
Oh, I was listening to a podcast the other day which was saying that if you listen to podcasts that are talking and listen to them at 1.5, you can still get through the podcast and hear everything, but it'll just sound a bit faster and your mind will assimilate it quickly. But if you're talking that fast and then someone goes to 1.5 times faster or 2 times faster, it's screwed. No chance at all.
So therefore it's an opportunity for us to talk about 3/4.
Really slow.
So they speed it up. It goes to normal speed.
That's right, yeah. We can play your game.
Anyway, Mick, I was trawling through the emails. We did get a lot of emails. A lot of them are just shit, like...
And they're the good ones.
just stupid emails. But this time...
That's not a good way to talk about our listeners.
They were like, you get, Hi there, I'm Bert from Pizzazz Music. We really love what you're doing and would love to have you to come across to Pizzazz Music to work with us.
I sent him to you. That was Bert.
Bert, Zaz. Anyway, there's all manner of folk who want our wares. But I did get an email, a genuine email, from Houston Bernard. Familiar with his work?
Put simply, no.
No, neither was I. But he says that he's... I think he's only writing to us, like not everybody in the world. And he said, I'm writing to you to tell you about my new single that's coming out. And we're thinking, it must be an edgy sort of alt music kind of single. That's what I'm thinking. And it's called Dancin', not with a G, just with an N, Dancin'.
Oh, good. So it's up to the minute.
In the dirt. So I'm thinking, Eno? Is it Eno-like or is it, I don't know. But I thought what we should do is give it a bit of a play because he says, have a listen. So let's have a listen to what Houston Bernard is doing. Feel like boot scooting. What about you?
My feet are just moving all by themselves.
Been a long week, thank God it's a Friday.
So,
oh dear, pass me the.
So after I heard it, I thought,
the antacid.
Oh, maybe he should send an email to the entire world because he might find someone to listen to his "Dancing in the Dirt" record.
Oh dear, it's interesting though. If this bloke is selling music, has he sent it to us because we're a music podcast, or is he sending a personal introduction to every single email in the world?
I don't know. I think he needs the latter in order to get any people to listen to him.
I think so, yeah.
But apparently he was nominated for Country Artist of the Year for his album Ditch This Town.
Well, cute name.
It was only for the New England Music Awards.
Is that Australia, New England?
I think it's the New England.
England.
I think it's the New England region of Australia. So I think it's like Armidale.
Oh, well, Golden Guitar.
Yeah.
Tamworth.
Yeah.
Beauty.
So, anyway.
My boots are still scooting.
Yeah.
There they go.
He's good. He's good though, isn't he? So we'll be picking up on that album. We might have an in-depth of Houston next year and get right into his music.
Only if he's going to come on board for an interview, and we'll talk more about that later.
All right, we'll see how we go. Anyway, now, we have to follow up here, Mick. We did make a commitment in our last podcast. Well, we made a comment in our last podcast about Coldplay. I mentioned that they had a new album out, and we committed to listening to that album so that our listeners didn't have to. Have you done your homework, Mick?
I have.
All right, give us the good news. I know it's going to be a really good news story because I'm pretty sure I listened to it. I've got certain views. You listen to it. Let's hear yours.
I've never been so offended by an album in my entire life. I found the words just jumped off the speaker. Do you like that?
Something.
Calculated blandness.
Calculated blandness. I've never heard those two words put together before, but I'll run with them.
It's unbelievable. I've heard worse albums musically.
Yeah.
But they are quite capable musicians. That's what really offends me about Coldplay. The calibre of the music on this album is almost an insult to the world and probably to the moon as well.
Yeah, right. Go intergalactic sort of thing.
Yeah. It's like a joke. You know, someone's sitting in the studio saying, let's see how bad or boring an album we can make and still have people buy it.
What's the engineer and the producer doing? They're sitting there going, oh, fucking hell.
They've gone off to make a decent album with somebody else.
How was that? Yeah, that was good, mate. We'll just go straight to the next song now. That was really good. Let's move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Apparently they've got a great live show.
Yeah.
But you know,
it's big. It's a big.
You can go to the Royal Leicester Show and see a live show like that, you know, with fireworks and cows jumping over the moon, that sort of thing.
I think I would definitely rather watch Dressage than Coldplay.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of Dressage.
No, well, dressing up is another thing altogether.
Yeah.
But dressage, yeah.
But I watch the wood chopping ahead of many artists. In fact,
that's true. They've got that certain rhythm going. You know, it's sort of like advanced house.
So that yeah.
Thunker, thunker, thunker.
Bum, bum, bum,
Since we're in feedback still,
yes,
we've been contacted by Mark. Now you remember Mark from Sydney, who's contacted us a lot, and you know, he's talked to us about people as diverse as Peter Gabriel, Johnny Cash.
Yep.
You know, so great musicians, and he's spoken to us, you know, with great enthusiasm about those musicians, and he's been in touch and told us that he's been to and loved the Coldplay show in Sydney.
Oh,
yeah. Now I don't know what Coldplay has to do with any of those musicians that Mark has contacted us about before. I don't know, just don't know. All I can say, Mark, is that music is a hugely personal thing. And if Coldplay floats your boat, good for you. I won't hold it against you.
Look, I can understand maybe going to see the show is more of a spectacle.
Yes.
And they probably do play some of their earlier stuff, which is less offensive.
Not as bad.
Yeah. And so people get off on that sort of stuff. Got the glow stick. Got the light. People don't have lighters really anymore, do they? Used to put the lighter up in the air and wave that back and forward.
Well, that's very true. That's very true. I think coming up we'll talk something about phones at concerts.
Oh, yes. Good idea. Anyway, Mick, I can see you've actually dragged the Globite travel bag with its luxurious interior all the way to here. What have you got bursting out of the seams this week, mate?
Mate, I think we've got a really interesting episode, but I'm just a bit reluctant to open the bag until it's time to start talking about it, because we've got John Fogerty in there in Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Ooh.
And I'm just a bit concerned that if we open the bag a bit early, he'll sue us.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point. And they're probably in there belting the living daylights out of each other. John's probably sitting on top of Tom's grave, drinking piss or something like that.
It's a worry.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave it there.
Yep.
We'll leave it there. We'll move on. Move on to a little bit of what have we got? All the news that is rock. All the news that is rock. All the news that is rock is here right now.
Nice blend.
Yeah, what do you think of that, eh? Puff Daddy. He's back in the news a little bit. He's a busy boy, as you can imagine. And he's been getting into a bit of bother because he's trying to influence jurors and stuff like that in his trial. So apparently the judge in the court don't really like him doing that. I don't know why.
I thought that was the way that you did things legally in the US these days.
I did too.
I mean, Puff Daddy will be the next president if he keeps going.
That's right. But yeah, so he's been in a bit of trouble with his court case. I think it was going to go on for years and years and years. So, but anyway, he's been a little bit naughty. But what I've done a bit of research, Mick, into baby oil, and I was trying to find maybe Johnson's baby oil and see if it comes with, uses such as, orgies, mix liberally with GBH, and other drugs, and rub over your body so that it may be licked off and enjoyed orally. I don't know. But I can't find it because Johnson's baby oil just says that it moisturises baby's delicate skin and helps prevent dryness.
Nobody wants dryness.
No, not in an orgy.
There was that edge, and you just had to jump over it, didn't you?
And they did say that it doesn't. There's no added parabens, so I don't know whether that's whether. Yeah, you wouldn't want parabens, or phthalate dyes.
Yeah, try and pronounce that one. It's PHTH.
PHTHALATES. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's great for a massage. So I think they did a bit of massaging, did they?
Well, of course, yeah.
So
people go, they've been working hard all day, their feet are a bit sore. Now, I'm sure that's the sort of thing that's going on here.
Well, then I thought I'd branch out, say, okay, maybe not just Johnson baby oil, maybe there's other baby oil out there that sort of includes your drugs and stuff like that. And I found this lovely one from, where are they? They're called 4 Cow Farm.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and they've got a luxurious blend of pure cold-pressed apricot kernel, macadamia, and sweet almond extra virgin oil with organic chamomile and soothing rosemary. Now, if that doesn't get you going, I don't know what would.
Oh, I'm feeling relaxed already just reading that.
In fact, I've got a bottle here, and I'm going to give you a bit of a rub on your back a bit later on.
Ooh,
so yeah. I know you're going to enjoy that. So yeah, go for the 4 Cow Farm, which is pretty wild and wacky.
Yep.
On another note, what the fuck is going on in Melbourne, mate? What is going on in Melbourne? Coldplay, who we talked about earlier, well, the lead singer fell in a hole in the stage.
When you mentioned that to me, I thought that obviously that's part of the show. They're trying to lift the game a bit.
Yeah, like sort of Taylor Swift action, jumps in the hole and then you see her swimming along the stage and she pops at the other end. No, he just fell in. Chris Martin, he was talking to the crowd at the fourth and final show at Marvel Stadium and walked along and just fell down into a hole. A shocked gasp was heard for the audience before Martin said, "That's not planned. Thank you for catching me so much. Thank you, guys. Holy shit." He then thanked the person who caught him and so he's all over. But here's the crazy thing. This mishap comes just 3 weeks after US pop star Olivia Rodrigo also fell into the hole in the stage.
What's with the hole? Surely they should have noticed it the first time.
You would think so. So, I don't know. It's something going on in Melbourne. I think post-COVID, they're starting to forget about fixing holes in stages or something. I don't know.
I bet they can't get any OHS insurance there.
They won't anymore.
Playing a show at Melbourne, sorry, we're not covering you.
We cover you for everything except holes in the stage.
That could well be true, yeah.
And so she said she wasn't injured and she got straight back up. But, she was a bit shocked. So, anyway. But the final bit of exciting news, not really rock news, but Big Donnie won the US election. So we've got another 4 years of great material for us to sort of delve into and stuff like that. It's going to be awesome. Don't you reckon?
It's a new usage of the word with which I was not previously acquainted.
Anyway, it's America for you. It's a crazy old part of the world. I think we might just move straight on now to... that's what I meant to say. I forgot to mention. He's got another range of sneakers out as well. So if you're after some different types of sneakers, he's got a few extra types in there for you to have a look at. So have a look at Chase Up Donnie. I'll put the link in the show notes, so I'm sure our listeners would like to get onto some of these.
Well, who wouldn't?
He's got
Have they got 47 printed on them now?
I think, you know what, I think they actually do.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I think they've got fight.
Oh, of course. That's what you want to do.
And a few others like that. So, there's a bunch of stuff. So we'll be looking forward I'll be looking to see how the Bitcoin, the Trump Bitcoin goes for the coming years and see I'm hoping we get presidential NFT cards because that'll be better than the non-presidential ones.
Well, naturally.
With him, like a card with him talking to another narcissist like Netanyahu or someone like that.
That's right, yeah. In an ICC non-jurisdiction country.
That's it. All right, so let's move on, Mick. 1001 albums you must listen to before you die.
And it's a great choice you've made today, mate.
I thought we would just go back to something that lived big in our life for a short period of time.
It did, didn't it?
On page 389, it's Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf.
And like a bat out of hell, I'll be gone when the morning comes.
Now, here's something I'll just do the... produced by Todd Rundgren.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
He's got some quality on it.
And art direction, M & Co. Don't know who they are. Running time, 46 minutes, so he knocked out a few. Only 7 songs on there. I think there's 3 8-minute songs on there, something along those lines.
He's certainly pushing the boundaries. Yep.
In Australia, it was number one. Got to number 1 and it was in the charts for 137 weeks.
Not surprised.
And he had the singles. He took the words right out of my mouth. Beg your pardon. Bat Out of Hell and 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad. All got into the Australian charts for various lengths of time. So it was a huge album in this country. He toured. I think he's toured here quite a few times, with his final tour being at the Australian Rules Football Grand Final.
Just kept getting bigger and better.
Yeah, and that was certainly the highlight of his career. I wish I should have. Anyway, so it's a great album. It's a rollicking album. But you know what I figured out was I just listened to it again the other day and I realised I had never listened to the entire album.
Don't need to. Just play the song, play it 15 minutes later, play it the next day. That's the album. It's all good.
And I never really listened closely to Dash Light. What is it?
Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Paradise by the Dashboard. Never really listened closely to the baseball bit in the middle, which is getting to home base. Yeah. So anyway, that was a great joy for me to listen to the final song, which I'd never listened to, which is all right.
That epitomises what we try and do with this podcast. Bring back the joy of our youth to people's lives.
Mick, tell us the Mick story about Meatloaf.
Mate, overall, he's had this great album, and it was a great album. I really loved it and heard it a lot, and I think you hit it right on the head when you said it played an important part in our lives, because I know we've said with a lot of cliches, that you couldn't go to a party without this album being played. No. You couldn't get in a car without this bloody album being played. No. It was just a fantastic album. Strong, that Jim Steinman sound. Anything else you hear that Jim Steinman's done, exactly the same. Really bombastic, loud guitar, a bit of orchestral horns and things behind it, but in the mix, not horns for horns, horns for blast. He's definitely taken the wall of sound concept and made it into a dirty great steel wall of sound.
Amped it up.
Absolutely. So the world's first view of Meatloaf was, he was in Eddie in the Rocky Horror Show.
That's right.
And the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Because that's really where he came from, out of that sort of theatre musical.
And look, in the cartoon-like environment of that show, which I must say, I'm not saying in any negative way, I love Rocky Horror. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. Show. But it's a cartoon. Yeah. And it really, about a creature from outer space who comes and wants to have sex with everyone on the planet.
Does a pretty good job.
He does, yeah. And I please allow me to introduce myself.
I'm just a sweet transvestite.
Exactly right. So, but there's Meat, this guy with a huge voice. He was a big boy too.
Yeah.
He was not. He didn't hang back. His mum didn't have to tell him to eat his greens.
No.
He ate the greens. He ate half the plate as well. He was a big boy.
Yeah, big strong boy.
Yeah, powerful voice, shining in this cartoon-like environment, and he harnessed that Rocky Horror energy for this album. Don't you reckon?
Oh, without doubt.
Yeah. We couldn't get enough of him, as I say. The songs were dynamite, especially the one that you've already flagged, that car sex epiphany. Yeah. Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
With is it Elaine Page that sings with him? I think it's Elaine Page. One of the.
That sounds right.
I think it's Elaine. So it's someone like that. Great voice.
She's got a powerful voice too.
Awesome voice.
Yeah. And again, her background is stage in the US and Europe, and
wasn't she Piaf at one point? Was she Piaf?
That I couldn't.
No,
tell
not
you.
Piaf. No, Don't Cry for Me, Argentina.
Oh yeah, that
That's
sounds
what she
good.
did,
Yeah.
yeah.
But again, that whole over the top, blasted out. You've got to convince a whole lot of individuals in a theatre of that you mean what you're singing, and that's the approach that they all take to this bloody album, and it's just awesome. The cover. It's just it's a cartoon. It's a comic.
Over the top. Absolutely over the top. And the motorbikes and the devil and all that sort of shit. It's just insane.
Yeah. And I think I called it once Meatloaf riding a demon motorcycle of indeterminate make. Now, the first thing I'm going to look to see of the motorcycle is it a Harley?
Sure.
Yep. But you can't tell.
No.
Could in fact be a Triumph because it's got a number of syllables coming out of a vertical engine, but who knows? But the fact you can't tell adds to the mystique.
Yeah.
Right. He couldn't do it on a sustained basis, though.
No.
The strength that he applied to this album, it's not shouting, it's not anything. It's just a huge use of his voice, in almost a live environment. They've recorded it live in the studio, and it's just fantastic. He couldn't keep that up. No. His voice cracked up.
Yeah.
So illness. He had legal action from his band and from his label afterwards because his voice packed it in.
And him and Steinman actually didn't get on, so there was another sort of battle there.
Well, exactly, and it's probably emblematic of the fact that. Do you like that? Emblematic.
That's
can
a good
use
word.
that. Yeah.
I'm going to use that.
That they put so much energy into it. They were so invested in it that that's got to give somewhere.
The other thing, little while ago, we did albums you regret buying, and I forgot to include that I had a Jim Steinman album, and it is certainly an album that I regret buying. And because it looks the same as the Bat Out of Hell album, kind of, that same sort of cartoon.
That's Jim Steinman,
and he's got the same sort of songs as this album. He's just not that good at executing it.
It was the stars aligning for Bat Out of Hell, and then it just never came together again.
No, you could. Yeah, I mean. How do you do that? How would you ever do that again? That's a once-in-a-lifetime album.
Absolutely.
Move on. Take your money and go and sit in an island somewhere. In fact, buy the fucking island.
Sounds like a great idea. Yeah. Have sort of little locals to bring you a constant stream of 350ml bottles of beer. Happy days.
Happy days. But anyway, he lived on for quite a while, and he made many tours to Australia, I think, from memory. And
we were a bit slower to wake up to his declining health, I think.
Yeah, and I've seen him interviewed a few times, and he never seemed a happy person. But anyway,
I think you're right. I wouldn't have put my finger on it exactly as succinctly as you have, but I think you've picked it in one, Jeffrey.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from one litigious group or band to the epitome of litigious bands.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Creedence Clearwater Revival, mate.
Creedence is pretty much going back as far as our conscious understanding of the rock music industry can stand, I guess, because it's 67, 68, 69. We were kids, little kids. And
little teeny weeny
kids.
And Mommy, can I have a cigarette?
Yes, son.
But don't smoke it. And don't put it in your beer.
Don't you put that cigarette in your beer, boy.
Sorry, Mum.
They're probably the earliest band I can remember happening in real time. I can remember, and by that I mean, we were there consciously when the singles came out.
Yeah.
So, unsophisticated appreciation. Yeah, there it is. It's probably on a par with the singles were coming out at the same time as people like Glenn Campbell and so the late 60s stuff. So I can understand why they were popular because the late 60s was fairly dull.
Oh yeah, there's some very interesting top 40 selections available.
Late 60s, early 70s.
The stuff that we used to have. You'd have Tom Jones on there, Engelbert, Humperdinck. Yeah. This is in the rock music top 40.
Yeah. And what made it worse was something we've referred to quite a number of times. In Australia, we were even more isolated than anywhere else. So we're getting all this stuff and people were just lapping it up because they didn't know anything else.
Do you remember, it just popped in my head, we had Moog as one of the Moog synthesizer was a bit of a hit. And there was one song that actually made it into the radio. There was like... Dun, 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 dun. Popcorn. That was Moog, wasn't it? I think it was. The Moog synthesizer.
Oh, it could have been, yeah. It was the name of the band was M.
Was it M, was it?
So that probably...
it was terrible.
Probably
terrible.
where it came from. Yeah, absolutely.
Terrible.
I was hoping not to remember that today.
Yeah, sorry. It's going to be there for the rest of the day now.
Yeah, thanks very much. Creedence, the band who gave us a bunch of great singles. Yeah, there's no question that when they came out, they were really good. Now they're just as strong. A lot of stuff from that period doesn't shape up well, 40 and 50 years later. But many of these singles really do.
Yeah.
But to tell you what I find fascinating that we'll cover over the next 30 or 40 minutes is the environment around them. Holy ghost, you wouldn't want to live there.
No. It's pretty toxic.
Yeah, it's... And I don't think a lot of people are aware of that. We've talked to people and we said we're going to do Creedence. They go, yeah, I love Creedence. But I don't think they know Creedence.
No, I think Credence has this sort of happy, they talk about it being swamp rock, but it's really some of it's just like party music, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Swamp rock, it's a bit like the Beach Boys being surf rock from Minnesota.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, these guys are from Silicon Valley.
Not
that it was called Silicon Valley at the time.
They're from the slum areas of California. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's basically a story. Creedence is a story of two brothers, Tom and John Fogerty, and two friends. All of them went to school together, and the two friends are caught in the middle of the blue between Tom and John. And John's... I started out thinking, I won't be too harsh on John. Well, but the more we got...
The way you sort of regard it is John is the creative driver behind this band because he wrote the songs, he did this, he did that, and the rest of the band did nothing. And that's the story that John, to this day, continues with.
Absolutely, and we'll touch on that. But unfortunately, the truth, I think, is a wee bit different.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. They were born and raised in a place in California called El Cerruto, which is like the western suburbs of Sydney.
Yep.
With desert. And, They all went to the same junior high school.
Yep.
And first form to fourth form, I think, is junior high school. Yeah,
I don't know what.
Yeah, I wouldn't try and draw any parallels between Australian schooling levels and
we
American.
don't even have first form to fourth form anymore, mate.
But then they did. Well, you think we're going to get sued by the education department?
Year 7 to year 10 is that
what it is now? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone who listens to this podcast really cares?
No.
That's just as long as they don't have to go back and do exams, they're all happy.
Just for the sake of accuracy, that's all. The only reason I bring it up, mate. I just want it to be accurate.
4 years, 19 episodes in the last year, and you want accuracy. God, Jeff, be a bit bloody consistent, please, mate. They've got a story like hundreds of other bands. Yeah. Everything they did, they started out as your local band, just playing in the garage, just playing together, socially. But there was the four of them all the way through. It's not like, they each played in local bands and moved in and out of this and that until they finally got together and gave us Susie Q and Heard It Through the Grapevine and Who'll Stop the Rain. No, they always played together, which makes what came later even more unsettling and upsetting. They started out as a band called the Blue Velvets, and then they signed to Fantasy Records, which was a local label, which was mainly a jazz label. But they wanted the label wanted to branch out into this rock and roll thing.
Yeah, I think they had Dave Brubeck was on the label actually.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well done. Yeah, well done. Some of the singles that they released as the Blue Velvets, that never big and never successful, but they certainly got noticed by Kasem.
Oh yes,
when he was a DJ.
Is he still alive? Is he still alive? He probably is.
Couldn't tell you, but
he probably is. Hi there, this is Casey Kasem.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a man who could talk underwater with a meat pie in his mouth, isn't he? He's fantastic. They changed their name in 1967 to Creedence Clearwater Revival, and it all changed. John became the leader of the band.
Because Tom was the leader of the band.
They started out as the three of them coming up underneath Tom, who was the older brother, and so supporting Tom and being his backing band.
And they used to write together.
Yes.
They used to produce songs together.
Absolutely. Everything together. And that's the important word to remember. And remember it in about 30 minutes when we talk about perhaps not all the time. Tom later stated, Tom who died in 1990, he stated that I could sing, but Tom had a sound. So, and there is a difference between someone who can hold a note.
Tom or John? John had a sound.
Tom could sing, but John then had a sound. Did I say Tom had a sound?
Yeah, you did.
Well, Tom had a bit of a sound
just
too,
in the
but not the
interest
John sound.
Just in the interest of accuracy.
Oh, no, I'm trying to give you some slip of the tongues, Jeffrey, that you can bring up in our wrap-up episode. Yeah, did you notice that on the clock? You can... Their sound... Tom was on rhythm guitar, and he had originally played lead, but he moved to rhythm when in the final lineup of the band. Stu Cook on bass, Doug Clifford on drums. John Fogerty then became the singer, the guitarist, and the songwriter.
Yep.
Right, because he could. They blended everything that was going on at the time: blues, folk rock, soul, country, rock and roll, and psychedelia. Now, psychedelia is one of the most abused terms that I've ever heard. Yeah, it's pretty much anything that wasn't folk, soul, country, or rock and roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I've got a few records.
Went more than 4 minutes.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and played some unusual notes. But the thing about psychedelia is pretty much most of the good bands touched on it. And we're on the order. We're on the edge of psychedelia.
Sure.
But the critics labelled their sound swamp rock.
Yep.
Which is really funny because they'd only come from El Cerruto. Yeah, that was the extent of their life experience. They'd never been to Louisiana, and later on, when they were interviewed, they said, "We think it's kind of we're not offended by it. The fact they call us swamp rock. We think it's kind of cute that they actually listened to us long enough to come up with a name like that. We wouldn't have picked it ourselves."
Yeah.
Their big break came with they picked the song from the '60s by a fellow by the name of Dale Hawkins, Susie Q.
Can
you edit that out in the?
Does that sound exactly the same?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of the Jeff could make funny noises, but John had a sound.
Susie Q, yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's the song that you see, or you hear rather, playing when the army unit is going upriver in Apocalypse Now.
Yep.
Just before the Viet Cong starts bombing the boats.
And it's interesting because that's like a little moment of innocence when they're all dancing around on their boat, they're having a great time, this is cool, and they have no idea what they're heading into and they think it's all just a game.
That's right, and then you see the terror on their face. Yeah. He was a great director.
Yeah,
really did a good job on that movie.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Weird and strange and a long way from the original book, but nonetheless.
Have you seen the extended cut?
I don't have no interest in seeing the extended cut.
Oh, it gets even weirder.
Oh, dear, yeah. Very strange indeed, very strange indeed. So through 68, they then bopped out a whole bunch of the singles that we know. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about their singles because everyone knows their singles. Yeah, I reckon if we go out into the street and talk to a dozen people, we'll get a dozen songs, very little repetition, but they'll all be the hit songs from 68 and 69.
Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah. Creedence put a lot of effort into, in 69 in particular, playing the big festivals across the US, where they could get to 100 and 200, and in the case of Woodstock, 500,000 people in one go.
But what happened to Woodstock that John would not allow them to put the music onto the album or the movie? Because even though they were the headliner, they were the pretty much the headline band.
They were billed ahead of the Grateful Dead, and the Grateful Dead in California were godlike.
Yeah, they came on after Grateful Dead.
They did, yeah.
At 3 a.m.
Yeah, that's all right. But then they complained that the Grateful Dead had put everyone to sleep.
That's right. And I heard John Fogerty talking about how it's just the hippies who put this on, and timing wasn't a great thing for them. And we came on at 3:00, and everybody's asleep.
But in a separate interview, they blamed the Grateful Dead for that.
Yeah, that's right.
All that
because they went too long. They went too long.
Yeah. That's right. I'm going to a concert with 500,000 people, and I'm expecting reasonable scheduling and
that's right.
and so on and so on.
Put on by hippies.
As soon as their song started playing on the radio in the US at first, and then all the way around the world, they were instantly recognised as radio fodder. Perfect songs. You say some of the songs went on and on a bit too far.
They weren't on radio.
They weren't the ones that played on radio. The singles were
3 minute bits of music.
Bang, starter up, great riff, great screaming voice, but not too stupid.
Yeah.
Now, none of that hippie draft dodging stuff. Well, that's what people thought.
Mm.
We'll touch on that later too.
But really, the whole swamp rock thing gets me, because really it's just like 12-bar blues, a lot of the music. It's
pretty much, yes. Yeah.
It's nothing overly exciting. And I'm not going to say that I don't think John Fogerty's a fantastic guitarist, but he's nothing outrageously amazing. But I don't think that's...
Don't need to be.
And I was going to say, I don't think that's where the band was trying to be, though. That's not really a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Probably one of the more popular ones is Proud Mary.
Mm.
Yeah, and we used to have a friend who carried his guitar around everywhere and always launched into the opening 6 bars of Proud Mary, and away we go. Big wheel keeps on turning.
Proud Mary keeps on burning.
It's been covered by over 100 people.
Yeah.
In released versions of the single or an album. It's amazing.
Got me.
Yeah, and Bad Moon Rising I love, which again we'll talk about in a moment. But they did some musical tributes in some of their music. You listen to Have You Ever Seen the Rain? The organ bit in the middle?
Mm.
And then you listen to Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs.
Yes.
Hammond organ.
Yep.
So Fogerty put that into Have You Ever Seen the Rain as a tribute to Booker T and the MGs because he loved what they did.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go, eh? Now,
I've always liked looking up the back door.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just get a mirror, away you go.
Thanks for that, Jeff. Yes, it's always nice. Yeah, but we're getting a bit too elevated there. Fortunate Son is the one that's got so much of a run everywhere. It's still played today. It's been in so many movies, we call them.
As soon as you put something up about Vietnam, that's what's playing.
Fortunate Son, absolutely. Now, interestingly, it's such an anti-war song for a band that were popular in the top 40, and we know, the top 40 is a great leveller down. Fortunate Son and some of the other stuff, but Fortunate Son is the most obvious one, so anti-war. Lyrics, I ain't no senator's son. I ain't no millionaire's son. Some folks are born silver spoon in hand. Don't they help themselves, Lord?
And the thing that's amusing, we talked about Trump earlier. Trump was using this song at the start of some of his rallies, and he was actually sent a cease and desist. But realistically, the song is more about people like Trump than for people like Trump.
Absolutely. Well, Fogerty said that
about Trump. Like Trump avoided the Vietnam draft by pretending to have bone spurs, and that's what you just read out. How the senators pay money so their children don't go to the war.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Mind you, Fogerty was smart because he got drafted, but before he actually had to do anything, he went and joined the reserves, so he still didn't go.
That's okay. That's okay. But he didn't.
He couldn't get out of
responsibility.
No, he couldn't get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were from a poor area and they weren't doing
just
so
had
well.
to do what you had to do.
Yeah. But in an interview for 2020, John Fogerty was quoted as saying, "Fortunate Son, it's a song I could have written now," says John Fogerty. And so I find it confusing, I would say, that the president has chosen to use my song for his political rallies, when in fact it seems like he's probably the fortunate son.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Absolutely, indeed. Soundtracks. Now, we know that half of the movies we've watched over the last 20 or 30 years have had Creedence in the soundtrack, and that's fine. It works really well. It works really well in a couple of special instances. Have you seen American Werewolf in London?
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you haven't seen it, folks, have a watch just for the transformation scene of the poor guy turning into a werewolf.
One of my favourite movies, actually.
Yeah, Brian De Palma, you've done a great job. Stand up and take a bow. But Bad Moon Rising, when the two young American... the young Americans on their world tour, and they go over to England and start walking through the Yorkshire moors at night.
Yes.
With a storm coming in and the clouds filling up the sky. Bad Moon Rising. Don't go out tonight because you're bound to lose your life.
There's a bad moon.
Indeed. Yep. Apocalypse Now, Fortunate Son. That's a scene that is just so memorable, and it's been repeated and repeated and repeated. Even in something like Evan Almighty. Yeah. Have you ever seen The Rain? Yeah. That started a series of films with Jim Carrey.
Yeah. I remember the movie.
Where some ordinary buffhead thinks he's God.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie. You know?
It's not bad. It's fairly light, but
don't
bust a valve if you haven't seen it. Yeah, just listen to the soundtrack. Yeah, it's all good. And it's been in other things. Forrest Gump, Wild Hogs, Twilight Zone, the movie. Remember the Titans in the list? I was amazed at the list. It just goes on, and I'm not going to, I don't like to bore people with lists, but it's there. If you want to look it up, just go Google use of Creedence songs in soundtracks, and it's pages long.
Yep.
It just goes on. Keith Richards hated Creedence. He's not averse to having an opinion that perhaps goes against the grain, our Keith. Yeah.
So what did he say?
He says, I first liked them, but they've got a very definitive style, and then it started to wear thin.
I think he's right.
Yeah, I think, particularly Keith, because he's written so many and so varied songs. He hasn't just written Satisfaction over 50 times, but, Anyway, when I first heard him, I was really knocked out, Richard said. But I became bored with them very quickly, and after a few times it started to annoy me. They're so basic and simple that maybe it's a little too much.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to be a smartass, but I've for some reason I was never a huge fan of this band. I never owned any of their albums.
No, true.
Because you didn't need to. Yeah. You knew all the songs.
That's right. Yeah, very true. Very true.
Anyway.
Yeah, playing rock and blues and the flannelette shirt thing.
Yeah,
it's never really been our thing, has it?
No, not us. But anyway, but an interesting band nonetheless.
Yep. Now, bands, some of the bands that we've talked about, and other bands in general, it's not uncommon for them to have a blue or an argument, big or small, with their record label.
It is not.
It is not. But sometimes that's the fault of the label. The label, they're there to make money. They don't want to. With certain exceptions, they're not there to further the art. If they can do that whilst making a couple of $1 million, or as Warren Zevon said, we'll all make a few $100,000. But he was a smaller player
because they're more about wanting to see the same record over and over again. What's the winning formula? Harvest. As in Neil Young's case, if you remember.
Yes, absolutely.
And then when he brought out Transformer, they said that's not a Neil Young album and took him to court.
Absolutely, yeah. And then Landing on Water after that, which wasn't much better.
No.
70s wasn't kind to Neil, or 80s, or whenever it was.
Whenever it was.
Sometimes that's the fault of the band being unreasonable. And in this case, we'll lay out a few things here and you can make your own decision, but it would not be an unreasonable decision to decide that John Fogerty was a arrogant, controlling narcissist, to use the modern vernacular.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Even though the label did get them into a contract that was
slave labour,
slave labour like, but there's some conjecture as to whether or not who was it? Stu's father was a lawyer, and they actually gave it to Stu's father to review the contract. But there's some no one knows whether he actually ever did or not. And they were going to sign this contract, and they said, John, this is John talking, so he got no idea whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
Oh, Stu, does your dad looked at the contract yet? And Stu said, yeah, it's all right. It's all good. Oh, great. So we signed it. Once again, pushing blame to somebody else.
It's fairly standard in this story.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
But a starting out contract is very different to a contract later on. But Fogerty insisted on being the business manager of the band as well, despite having no experience.
And don't forget, they signed a contract, and 2 years later they re-signed a new contract.
Yeah.
And Fogerty had some things put into that contract that he wanted in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There may have been eyes wide shut a little bit going on here.
I think so. But even that early, things were starting to fracture. There's the signs. You know, yourself when you're in a relationship, whether it's a work environment or a personal relationship or a team environment of anything, you don't see the cracks when they first happen. You think, oh, yeah, all right. You just let the things blow by. And then later on when you look at them, you think, okay, that was the point at which it all started to fall to bits.
Yeah.
But Fogerty insisted on being the head honcho, being the one who negotiated the contracts, and in fact was often the only one in the meetings with the label.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clifford and Cook, still moaning about it, were excluded from those meetings.
Yeah.
So, yeah. John was brilliant at all the musical things. There's no question about that.
No.
But at that level, when you're talking millions of dollars, that's a specialist job. Yeah, there's people who have made a lot of money for bands as specialist expert managers, and there's people who've cost bands a lot of money for doing exactly the same thing.
And the company made substantially more money out of licensing their music to other people than they did out of the band, which is interesting, which is not uncommon, but they made a lot of money out of licensing deals.
That's what the record label does. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Hey, we've invested a lot of money in you.
It's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's exactly right.
Yeah. So, but Fogerty wouldn't let anything go. If I haven't seen it, it doesn't happen.
Yep.
Yeah. That'd be like me trying to manage an international band. I just want to be listening to the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or tell them how to write one. yeah. Maybe not so good. The label was purchased in 1967 by a fellow called Saul Zaentz. Now remember that name because he'll come back up in a couple of minutes and almost like the cartoon villain.
Yes, indeed.
In a pantomime. Clifford and Cook. And a lot of our understanding of what happened with Credence is based on stacks of interviews with Clifford and Cook. Right, they've not been backward about talking to the press. There's lots of stuff online if you want to go and have a look for it, where they say this is what happened, that's what happened. Much of it tallies with other sources, and in fact, some of it even tallies with what Fogerty says.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, what do you do? Fogerty played the Alan Klein card at one point. People started to arc up. The other band members started to arc up about his control of the band.
Yeah.
He said, well, if you don't like it, I'll bring in Alan Klein as our manager. You know, the guy who tore apart the Stones and the Beatles?
Yes.
That Alan Klein.
Right. Okay.
So they all backed off in a hurry. Did Fantasy and Zaentz care about Creedence artistically?
No.
They're a record label and we're looking to milk. They would put a compilation together as soon as you turned your back. You know,
Absolutely.
They had lots of them out there. Just their attention to quality was there's an album, a 1981 live album called the Albert Hall Concert, the Royal Albert Hall Concert.
Yep.
Now the Royal Albert Hall is in London.
Yes.
Right, and it's a prestigious hall.
Indeed.
Raka. Yeah, you'd expect to find one of the royals. Who, when they're not fighting with each other, there, that sort of thing. It was actually recorded at the Oakland County Coliseum.
Was it?
Yep. Now, I know it's easy to confuse the Royal Albert Hall and the Oakland Stadium.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So they actually put Royal Albert Hall on it?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, what's his name? John Fogerty had no regard for Zaentz. And without doing anything practical about it, without trying to negotiate properly, he just kept slandering Zaentz. And so they had tit-for-tat lawyers, lawyers at 20 paces, fairly regularly.
Yeah.
There was one 2004, Saul Zaentz sold the label, Fantasy, and that has some better developments for Fogerty later on, and we'll talk about those in a minute. The band broke up in 72.
So when did they started in 68?
67.
67.
Yeah, as CCR. Yeah.
And put out how many albums? 5?
5, yeah. They were all in the early years.
They shone very brightly, didn't they?
It was like a supernova.
Yeah, they shone very brightly.
Sold and sold and sold. And
so 5 years,
Yep.
in 5 years, they created some of the most successful music in the history of music.
Yep.
They became essentially at one point the biggest selling band in the world. And John Fogerty spent the rest of his life bitter and twisted suing
Saul Zaentz. Yeah, absolutely. Look, the story gets even worse. Okay, Fogerty had an album later on in the 80s called Centerfield. You know, he signed to a couple of labels. He signed to Asylum, and that ended in tears for everybody.
Yeah.
First album wasn't very good. It wasn't the Creedence sound. Second album, a week before, Fogerty heard whispers that they weren't quite so enamoured of the album. Pulled it a week before release.
Jeez.
Now any label's going to be delighted by that.
Oh,
So,
they're very happy.
So we'll see you in court, boyo. In the 80s, he signed to Warner Brothers, and released probably his best solo album, produced his best solo album called Centerfield, which, funnily enough, Fantasy Records took him to court about because they said it sounded like Credence, which...
Plagiarism.
Well, yeah, that's true, but he took his guitar into court and he said, "Am I John Fogerty? Is Creedence John Fogerty? How the hell can my new album not sound anything but like John Fogerty, who is Creedence?"
Yeah.
And he won.
He did win.
But to show how twisted the American system, both medical and legal, is, medical because I'm watching all these shows about American medical system, but that's another story. The American legal system, it cost him $400,000 to prove that he was right.
Yeah.
That's crazy stuff. Yeah, it's no wonder the companies hold the whip hand every time. So, on this album, Centerfield, there's 2 songs. I expect they've been deleted on later reissues of Centerfield. One is called "Zaentz Can't Dance," when it's got a lyric that says, "Zaentz can't dance, but he'll steal your money. Watch out, boy, he'll rob you blind," while a large naked pig proceeded to pickpocket the audience. And there's another song on the album called Mr. Greed.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they didn't do a film clip, but the sentiments are the same. Talk about, you want to make it on your own terms, but you can't let go.
He just ended up so bitter. And whenever I've watched a few interviews with him and stuff like that, and he just has this warped sense of the past, that everything good he did and everything bad someone else did. And he is the shining light in all this. Everyone else are arseholes.
Yeah. That sounds good. Yeah. They went on. Clifford and Cook had been asking for more involvement in the songs, in the songwriting, in the production. They wanted to sing one or two. So Fogerty came back. There's nowhere written what his mindset was about when he says, "Okay, we'll split the songwriting into 3. Do a third of your songs, a third of his songs, and a third of my songs. I won't play on the others, you play them." The label wasn't delighted about that, funnily enough. It was the album called Mardi Gras, which had Sweet Hitchhiker on it and nothing else. Which really funny, yeah.
It's really, really sad that you are so the whole thing about him being controlling. This is the epitome of a controlling person.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take my bat and ball, and I won't help you do anything. They were a band.
It's supposed to be a band.
They
yes,
never
yeah.
were a band.
Yeah.
The truth was that John Fogerty just ruled the world, and I heard him interviewed, and he said, "I had no idea that the fellas weren't happy. I had no idea they weren't happy. I thought that they would be happy because I had discovered a winning formula, and all I was doing was pushing that winning formula so that we'd all be better off."
Yeah. Look, totally that, man. that last album, Mardi Gras, in comparison to all of the others, which were full of hits, they were great. This one, the songs were written by the three of them, they're shared by the three of them. Rolling Stone, finally I found a review in Rolling Stone that I can agree with. John Landau in Rolling Stone panned it as the worst album I have ever heard from a major rock band. Yeah. There's a YouTube channel called Classic Album Review, and I forget the bloke's name, but he's not bad on occasion. He agrees with us most of the time. Yeah, we should send him a note saying, well done, boyo. Yep. But anyway, he included this in his 10 worst albums ever. His comment was, the band wanted to prove that they were more than John Fogerty's backing band. They failed. They ended up sounding like they were a Creedence cover band. 1993, they've got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the US. Creedence were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993.
Yep.
Cook and Clifford turned up. Said, "Where's my drum kit? Where are we playing?" And a stagehand said, "Sorry, you're not on, guys." Fogerty was playing with Bruce Springsteen and Robbie Robertson. So they walked out, as you'd expect. Now, later on, in 97, Fogerty did an interview for a Swedish pop magazine called Pop.
Oh, there you go.
And did exactly what you said, what you said was his view of the creative process. I was alone when I made that music. I was alone when I made the arrangements. I was alone when I added background vocals, guitars and some other stuff. I was alone when I produced and mixed the albums. The other guys showed up only for rehearsals and the days we made the actual recordings. Cry me a river, John. Yeah. Give me a break.
Yeah, he's a bitter man.
He is.
And for no reason.
Well, exactly right. Look, I can see you waving at me that we'll wind up. They released in 76 an album called Chronicle, which is the best of CCR, all of their hits and all of that good stuff. That has been in the top 200 in the US, the Billboard top 200, for 600 weeks.
Oh, shit, really?
Yes, exactly. And in and out of charts all the way around the world with some regularity. All the way around the world. So, you're right. They are a band who just will not go away. People love them. 600 weeks, that's 12 years consistently. So it goes into the charts, comes out of the charts, but 600 weeks is a bloody long time. Yeah.
Another thing I read is they never had a number one hit.
Never. All number twos.
Yeah. Always pipped at the post by a hit that's come out of somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes them clearly the most successful band to never have a number one.
It's funny, isn't it? They fit into so many categories.
Yeah. The other one I just briefly, what has Creedence Clearwater got in common with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
I don't know. What has Creedence Clearwater got in common with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
So Saul,
oh yes,
the evil Saul, made so much money out of Creedence Clearwater Revival. He started a movie production house, and most of the production costs of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest came from the money he made out of Credence.
Well, that's the American system.
And
Good on you, Saul.
And then he then produced other movies, and he became a very powerful producer in over there. And so he always was able to garner high quality lawyers, people, support, and all that sort of stuff, because no one ever wanted to tread on his toes, because he was powerful in the movie industry.
And a bit like Trump, didn't hesitate to head for the lawyers first thing.
When all else, not even when all else fails. If things start to fail, just get into it.
That's right. Yeah. 2023, Fogerty finally bought a majority stake in the rights to his songs, which he'd lost 30 years before, or 20 years before. 40 years before. I can't do maths.
Which is weird because, in fact, I think it was at 50 years, all the copyright goes back to him anyway, or something along those lines. So some sort of copyright law that says you're the owner of the music again. You own it. So, but he still wanted to get it in early.
Yeah, so he wanted that catalogue and he bought it from Concord, who were eminently more able to be dealt with than Saul Zaentz.
Yeah.
Oh, Fogerty found that anyway. And the quotes from the fellow who ran Concord Records seemed to be quite nice. He said, John wanted the rights to his songs, he wanted all the money, but we couldn't really do that since we'd just paid a hell of a lot of money for those rights. And I think, well, that's life. John, wakey. But John tweeted very nice things about Concord Records, and he says, finally got control of my work. After 50 years, I'm finally reunited with my songs. So I should have taken his number instead of trying to invent my own.
Yeah. That's right, because it wasn't that long after, as I said, the copyright would have fallen to him anyway, in some way, shape, or form.
One of the things that I know you're always banging on about is how people do in streaming, as compared to actual record sales. How did Creedence do with streaming?
Well, as we said earlier, they became the biggest selling band in the world not long after the Beatles broke up. But as far as when streaming came on board, they are one of the biggest streamers. And have you ever seen The Rain? Has 1.8 billion streams.
Wow, that's extraordinary. If you do the maths on that,
I had to count it out. That can't be me. It's billion. And then Fortunate Son 1.5 billion, and Bad Moon Rising 985 million.
That's a lot, isn't it? And even with the minuscule slice of 1 cent that they get for each song. Rain, have you ever seen The Rain? $6 million alone for that song in streaming. And streaming is, 30 years after they released the single.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're an amazing band. And I once again, I don't quite know how they... sorry, John Fogerty was right. He found a formula and it worked. And there's no two ways about it. That formula works. Not my cup of tea. And if you listen to Graveyard Expresses, I think it's called, on the first album, it's a fucking awful song. It's just fucking awful. And it goes for 8 minutes. Another one of these 8-minute songs that they have. Because remember the first time when they brought Susie Q out, that was an 8-minute song. They extended it. Yeah. And the single was on both sides. Another one of those sorts of things. And I think, oh, God. I mean, it's all right. It's more like a 3-minute song, not an 8-minute song.
That's right. What happened to edit, boys?
That's right. So they're an interesting band, and I've actually I found this journal called a Media or something or other, and there's a whole scientific article about the contract that John was in and exactly what really happened within that contract. And a lot of what John says is just all bullshit. But there are clauses in that contract, and they pointed out there are clauses in the contract that most lawyers didn't understand even then, because this was new. A lot of these contracts were relatively new because contracting music was becoming far more of an art, not an art form, but far more of a professional thing in the in the 60s. So there were clauses in there that people just did not understand. And at the end of, when the Credence broke up, John was left with a debt to Fantasy Records of 180 songs that he had to produce in order to get out of the contract, which he never did.
No, absolutely, and that's part of how he lost his rights to the songs.
And as we're talking about the fact that he didn't do Creedence songs, so that album he had an album just finished when Credence was broke up. And they said, you owe us 180 songs. They said, you owe us 180 songs. They said, well, here's an album. They said, we don't like that album because that's country.
Of course.
We want Creedence songs. Off you go. Yeah. And Saul hated Fogerty so much that he actually released the other 3 band members from the contract and only kept Fogerty in the contract. Yeah. It just goes on and on and on. So, I'd love to know the absolute truth about what happened, but it is a rollicking story nonetheless.
It is, and I don't think. I feel for John Fogerty. I feel he did a lot of this, and it is John Fogerty's stuff. But by God, boyo, didn't you make it hard for yourself?
Yeah, that's right. You just made it doubly hard. Anyway, it's been a good journey and a good story, and I thank you very much for it, Mick, and thanks everybody, and we will see you next time. Well, that's a wrap, and thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. It's free. And if you like this, tell your friends about us. Also, contact us at mickandthefatman@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks very much. See you next time.